On the channel, you've already seen the HD6570 graphics card. We've overclocked it and we've concluded that it was too slow. Well, what if we got two of them? Yeah, that's right, we're cross-firing two of these things together today. There's already a video on the channel where we took a basic look at CrossFire performance with AMD's dual graphics technology. The conclusion was that it didn't work so well, so don't get your hopes up too high today either. CrossFire seems to be less stringent on the requirements than NVIDIA SLI, meaning that two graphics cards from the same family with the same model number are pretty much always compatible. So today we're combining the XFX HD6570 you've seen before with a new contender, the MSI HD6570. Both have just 1GB of DDR3 VRAM, which is not ideal, and combining the two means we still only get 1GB to use. On the HD series of cards, CrossFire normally requires a special connection bridge, but these cards are too slow for those. Also, a more premium CrossFire supporting motherboard is always required. Each card by itself features 480 shader cores clocked at apparently 650 MHz and 1GB of DDR3 VRAM also clocked at 650 or so MHz. These low-end cards only need about 40 watts of power each, so no external power connectors are required. The rest of the system consists of an i5 2500K overclocked to 4.1 GHz, which is not a bottleneck for the two cards. There's also 8 GB of DDR3 memory sitting on a Gigabyte Z77P-D3 motherboard. Let's get into the benchmarks. We'll be comparing the results to the slightly overclocked single 6570 from a previous video. Let's start with our success stories, games that showed very good scaling. BioShock Infinite ran at an almost perfect 57 FPS at the 720p very low preset, compared to just 22 FPS before, even when overclocked. For some reason we got over 100% scaling here. It's very odd, but I'm happy with it. GTA 5 ran at 33 FPS average with the two cards at 720p normal or low settings all around, which is a good improvement from 18 FPS before. It's about 90% positive scaling, which is an excellent result, although the game suffers from mild micro-stuttering that is indicated by our 1% lows. Minecraft, surprisingly, offered a very good improvement as well, going from 78 FPS average at the 720p fast or low settings to 149 FPS. This is about 90% positive scaling, which is great. The Rise of the Tomb Raider in-game benchmark ran at just 18 FPS with two cards, compared to 13 before, which is an improvement but not quite enough. It's about a 40% performance uplift. The cards don't support DirectX 12, so the games were tested in DirectX 11. The Witcher 3 at 720p in low settings all around ran at 13 FPS average with two cards, which is more than 10 FPS with a single card, so adding the second card made for a 30% performance improvement, which is better than nothing, I guess. The same better than nothing trend continues for the rest of the games today. GTA 4 ran at a surprisingly bad 24 FPS average with view distances and such turned up, which is an improvement from 21 FPS but by like 10%. The same goes for Dirt 4, which ran at about 35 FPS average compared to 31 average when I turned off Crossfire on the same track. In the previous video, it ran at 26 FPS average. The game might not even support Crossfire, but forcing Crossfire to run in the game did add about 10% more frames, so not too bad, I guess. Know that the footage you just saw on screen is not representative of real-world gameplay. Also, you might have noticed the GPU usage meter stopped working. The words "not too bad," I guess, pretty much sums up our entire Crossfire experience. Every game tested today at least improved somewhat in performance, some by a lot, but most others by a mostly negligible amount. If you haven't heard, Crossfire is pretty much dead and has been for years. These two HD6570 cards can be found for about $15 to $20 each, so with the $35 or so that I paid for both, you might be able to buy something like an HD7770 or even a 7850 or 7870 if you're very lucky, which is a pretty big upgrade over even both these cards combined. Or simply just use integrated graphics. Our old AMD APU ran these games just as fast as the two cards combined, like in GTA 5 where it could do 34 FPS average smoothly, while this can only do 33 with stutters. Intel's UHD graphics tell a similar story, running GTA 5 at 30 FPS smoothly and BioShock Infinite at 63 versus the 57 here. And don't even get me started on the Ryzen APUs. But that's not really the whole point of the video. This was a fun little experiment that got not too bad results. It's also a lot of fun to brag. I got SLI basically, you know? I'm sure there are a few of you out there that are fans of multi-GPU technology, but for the rest of you, save your money and a lot of headaches and just buy a single more powerful GPU. Even if you already own an AMD GPU and you can drop in another. Trying to run one of these systems is simply a nightmare. Finding drivers, checking for CrossFire support, making sure games don't crash is a really stressful way to game. So all I can say is CrossFire works, but not well enough for you to seriously consider it. Thanks for watching.